There are a lot of things that are marketed to helping you live longer. And I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? But we're talking about supplements, certain foods, exercising, of course.
Yeah, and you always say, does this work, or I'm just throwing my money down the drain,
Right.
right?
There's a lot of money to be made.
9 News medical expert Dr. Payal Kohli joins us now. So it seems like there's always been that goal. I want to live longer. I want to see my grandkids. I want to whatever, but this is like a quest that's really kind of taken off lately. Longevity, longer living.
I mean, the fountain of youth people have been searching for forever.
Yes.
The fountain of youth, but take it a step further, guys. We're not just wanting to live longer, we're wanting to reverse our aging process.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and so that's where I think science, the culture, and technology has really come together to sort of create this, like you said, Kim, almost a desperation to live longer.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I tell my patients. There's a difference between lifespan and health span, right? Living longer is lifespan. It's the number of years you've had on this earth. So from birth to death, you are 90 years old, but you had a bad stroke at the age of 75. So those last 15 years were not healthy. So you only had 75 years of health span. So my goal as a preventive cardiologist is not just to help you live longer, but to help you live better, to help you age better, not necessarily in the reverse direction, but in a way that will make your life more meaningful and more rich.
Yeah. In other words, you don't care if we've got wrinkles. And
Right. As a doctor, she doesn't.
But you know, it's funny you make that joke because Botox getting approved actually ushered in a lot of this idea because people now look a lot younger than they used to
But
look.
their inside might be really old.
And that's the part we don't see, but that's where people are trying to say, okay, let me put NAD into my body or other types of things to help my insides not age as fast either.
Well, let's get into some of that stuff, like NAD, exercise, supplements, all that stuff. But lifespan has increased.
Lifespan
Right.
has increased, and here's the tricky part. So we think, okay, lifespan has increased, so we may have figured out the secret to longevity.
Did we?
No,
Oh.
actually all we've done is prevent premature death. So we've gotten better with vaccines, with antibiotics, with cardiovascular disease, and all the types of things that would have killed us younger. And that's why we're living longer, not because we figured out the secret to not aging despite all the medical advances.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how our ancestors lived, I mean, it was a lot harder, to be fair. But they lived cleaner. I think they ate cleaner foods.
They
I
ate a
know
lot.
my dad and his family did. NADs, I don't even know what that stuff is.
Yeah, so there's
And
a lot of...
supplements, there's a lot of like anti-aging supplements.
There's-
Why people believe Kim Kardashian looks so good. Right? That's where it was when an episode of the Kardashians, she's talked about NAD, then everybody blew up on the
What does
on
it
the
even
social
stand
media.
for?
Well, here's what I would say. If Kim Kardashian would purport cholesterol medicines and exercise,
That'd be
and
better.
sleep, oh my goodness, the same way,
You'd be
because
happy.
there is such a craze to find the magic pill,
Yeah.
right? There's studies about metformin, there's studies about rapamycin. NAD plus helps with antioxidants, so it's anti-inflammatory supposedly, but giving it back to people has never proven benefit. In fact, it might do some harm. And so essentially what we're trying to do is use medications to reverse the aging process. But there are 4 interventions, 4 characteristics that have been known to have an impact on the aging process.
Okay, go for it.
And-
Give it to
I'm
me.
writing
Give it
them
to me.
down.
Let's go.
Okay, so not smoking. Most
Okay.
of us have that. Cardiometabolic health, right? So that's our blood pressure, our cholesterol, our diabetes, our waist circumference, all of those types of things. Fitness, VO2 max. We should all know our VO2 max. It's something you can measure and calculate. It's how well your body performs under exercise, how your oxygen, your carbon dioxide works. It's a marker of fitness, as well as your heart rate recovery, how quickly your heart rate recovers after you exercise. And finally, how you carry your fat. So do you have a lot of bad fat, or do you have, there's white fat and there's brown fat. So there's different types of fat. And so some fat is worse than others. And so actually looking at not just the distribution, but the types of fat that you have can help predict risk.
I was going
How
to
do
say,
you
I tend to
find that
carry
out?
it here.
The love handles.
It's not like
The
you
love
have
handles.
a fat biopsy, right? I mean, how
Yeah,
do
how
you
do you
know?
do that?
You can do impedance testing on the fat. So there are fancy scales that can tell you what the distribution of lean fat versus not lean fat versus lean muscle and tissue is. Sleep, diet, exercise, obviously all that helps. But this will knock your socks off, guys. What percentage of your longevity do you think is decided by genes versus lifestyle and choices? How long you live?
I'm saying 70%
Decided by what?
genes.
60-40.
It's 85-15.
Whoa.
So on a
85
population,
genes?
85 genes, 15, sorry, backwards. 85 lifestyle, 15 genes.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
We both went heavy on the genes
Yes.
because you'd think
so
that.
85% of it, because even the way your genes are turned on is determined by your lifestyle. So I really want you to walk away with this, which is that it's not just, oh, you're going to live this long because your mom lived to 99, that's what you're going to do. It's really how you live your life that's going to make a huge impact.
Next time, we'd appreciate you coming with a pill to give us to make us live longer. Could you do
I'll
that?
work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Taking away the treats again. Thank you, Dr. Kohli. Thanks.